Right now, Donna Adelson's trial is on hold. So to talk about all of this, I want to bring in Joel Waldman. He is the host of the Surviving the Survivor podcast on YouTube. Joel, I was a little bit shocked the other day when I started hearing in the hearing about this new investigation that started last fall. They've got wiretaps, 32 hours worth of calls. So something's going on, but they're trying to be really careful about how they discuss this. So what did you think when you heard about this?
Well, Angenette, first of all, thank you for having me. And secondly, you are not the only one who was surprised. I mean, I think we were all taken aback. The hearing was midweek, and it was scheduled to be a hearing to get the trial continued. It seems like every trial out there right now is being continued. So throw the Dan Markel and Adelsons into the mix as well. And essentially what the defense was saying is, hey, we got all this new discovery. So prior to the hearing, we had heard that they got like 85,000 new emails. That was like the number being bandied about. And then Josh Selman, who is now the fourth or fifth, because she has two new attorneys of Donna Adelson's defense attorneys, he, in front of Judge Everett, said, look, we just got 100,000 new basically pieces of digital forensic evidence, which he alluded to were mostly emails that he had to go through. So he's asking for a continuance. But then as the hearing went on, it was a 34-minute hearing, so it wasn't overly long.
Right.
They basically informed the public through the court that there was a new investigation on top of this discovery dump with these wiretap calls that you're talking about. And so that was more reason that they needed time to sift through everything. And immediately everyone's thinking, wait, this happened back in 2014, 2025. And now there's a brand new investigation that was started in the fall. So something's going on.
Yeah, something is definitely going on. Sarah Dugan said they got the information in the fall. And I think it's important to point out that a court only approves wiretaps if law enforcement lays out in an affidavit that they can't get the evidence any other way. And with a wiretap, you can't just continuously listen. You have to log on at certain times. And apparently it's very strict about how you can listen. And so who are they listening to? And is it about this investigation? Sarah Dugan says there's one or two calls that they would use at Donna's trial. So obviously it relates to the murder investigation. Donna's in custody. I'm assuming these aren't her calls, because if they were jail calls, they can listen to those anytime they want.
Yeah, Angenette, these are amazing points that you're making, and I'm glad that you are. So these are what are known as Title III wiretaps. And for full disclosure, I am not an attorney, but I guess I play one on YouTube, or at least a host.
Same.
I had a former LA prosecutor of the year who was actually, I believe, on Law and Crime, Josh Ritter. He was on my show last night, and he told me in his entire yeah, he's great. But he was telling me in his entire tenure in the LA prosecutor's office, he was never able to obtain a Title III wiretap. That's how hard they are to get. But in this
really
case,
hard.
As you suggested, they were able to get these wiretaps. And to your point, Donna Adelson was and remains in custody in Leon County, which is where Tallahassee is. And so all they'd have to do with Donna is listen to these recorded jailhouse calls that are all recorded. So the implication or the intimation here is that they've got the goods on other parties possibly involved in this conspiracy, which then leads one to ask the question, could it be Harvey, who is Donna's husband? More importantly to a lot of people, could it be Wendy, Dan Markel's ex-wife? And then just a couple on to what I'm saying, we've got Tim Jansen on our show all the time. He's a criminal defense attorney out of Tallahassee, and he's been there for 40 years and knows a lot of people. And this entire time that I've covered this case, which is the better part of 3 years, he has always said, well, I don't think Wendy's getting indicted. Well, I don't think Wendy's getting indicted. On our last show, he said the tenor has changed. Now he knows people. He's talked to people. Exactly what Tim knows, he's not going to tell me. But we played that soundbite on my show last night. Something is going on, and maybe it has to do with Wendy. Time's going to tell.
And just to be clear, Wendy Adelson has testified in all of these trials and said that she and her family had nothing to do with a conspiracy to murder Dan Markel. But Wendy and Harvey have also been called unindicted co-conspirators in this case. So I just want to make it clear. That's where we stand right now, at least publicly. But I found it very curious, Joel, about how cagey they were being about this whole thing at that hearing. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out. And I think we just have to really keep a close eye on the discovery and what's going to be filed and what we can get our hands on. Don't you think?
Absolutely. What one real quick thing, Angenette, people are saying, well, are they going to arrest Wendy? Are they going to arrest Wendy? Well, they need Wendy for Donna's testimony.
Yeah, so, they wouldn't do it until after the trial. That's how that's been their pattern. They wait until the next trial.
Yeah, 100%. So it's a fascinating case with a lot of twists and turns.
Yeah. But I do want to reiterate, Wendy Adelson has not been charged with a crime, and neither has Harvey. I just want to reiterate that point right now. We'll keep an eye on it, though. Thank you, Joel Waldman.
Thank you.
So there was a bunch of things that came out, and none of it was good for Donna.
Yeah, sounds like it, Joel. Well, and something I keep thinking about here. So if this is a defense request for a continuance, look, they know their client's going to be sitting in jail. I wonder if the judge would say, okay, this is what you want. I know the state of Florida is ready. Seeing what you've seen from the judge, did you get any hint as to which way you think he might be leaning on this?
Yeah, I mean, the betting odds are that this trial is going to be continued. Now, with that said, Judge Stephen Everett is a fun judge to watch. He has an amazing, super eloquent, great way with phrasing things, and he's friendly but also stern. And you could tell yesterday he was getting really annoyed with the defense. And this goes back in terms of history because Donna had a previous defense attorney, Dan Rashbaum, and then hired two other defense attorneys who both had to drop out. So this is number 4, number 5. So Donna is competing here with Sarah Boone of infamous suitcase fame. But yeah, the judge was not pleased, but he's got his hands tied. Because as you know, better than I, Julie, every defendant has a right to a fair trial. And I don't think he's going to be able to rush them through this discovery process, especially on a murder one charge. So they're going to probably have to give the defense more time and Donna Adelson more time. The ironic part about this is this entire story basically evolved because Donna Adelson hated Tallahassee so much. She didn't want her grandkids living there. And now she's stuck in a county jail in Tallahassee, and it seems like she's going to be stuck there a lot longer.
Oh, you're spot on, my friend. Oh, the irony here with this one, Joe. I know you know. With all those emails, it kind of makes me wondering, since you gave us that number, I'm sure you were wondering this too. Like, where in the world are these coming from? Whose emails are they? I'm sure you've thought a lot about this and talked about it on your show. Best educated guess on that, Joel?
Yeah, by the way, we had Julia Janae of Court TV on our show last night, who happened to know.
That's great.
And she knows so much.
She's covered it. Yeah, she was one of our correspondents when this whole thing began. And it's wild how all these years have passed and we've seen the progression. I remember way back when we were just hearing the Adelson name. It was like, are these people ever going to be brought into court? And now I know Julia knows finally we've seen the day. But the emails, what do you think?
Yeah. So first of all, I guess to be clear, they might not all be emails, but it is digital forensic evidence that they have gathered. And this is coming from the state attorney's office. Now, Georgia Kappelman, who is, the prosecutor on this case, she was just named Assistant District Attorney of the Year in the last few months. She's one of the best at what she does. So I don't think there's anything kind of nefarious or shady going on in terms of the state attorney's office, shielding any of the discovery. When they arrested Donna, they seized some digital devices from her and I believe even Harvey Adelson. And people are basically suggesting or intimating that, the investigators at the state attorney's office were having trouble sort of getting the passcode and maybe just got the passcode in the recent weeks. And that's why all of this digital evidence is coming into play. But Julie, this really took a left turn yesterday. Like I said, they were talking about the discovery. That was what we anticipated. And literally, seemingly out of nowhere, and you played that clip, Josh Zellman said, there was an investigation started, and we know from this hearing that the wiretaps, there's 32 new wiretaps, that those were being carried out through February of this year. So this is something totally new, which apparently no one really knows much about.